Hey, hi, hello, what is going on? Welcome back to another Kendama commentary. If you're unfamiliar, this is where I roll some footage of me chasing a new trick. In this case, it is the cloud bounce. I roll the footage in the background while I give you some tips on the trick, some stories about my life, and anything else that really comes up. So like I mentioned, today it is the cloud bounce because, in a recent dare video, my man Stiff Legs over on Instagram dared me to go for the cloud bounce, which is definitely a tricky trick that I wasn't quite able to knock out in that video, but I thought it earned its own session, so I took it outside, and this is that. Now, starting off with some warm-ups, of course. If anybody's watched the Sweets tutorial for how to cloud bounce, you know there are two essentials. First, you gotta know the airplane, and second, you gotta know that 1.5 trade spike, which usually I can get down pretty reasonably, but was struggling a little bit here. Regardless, those tricks are not why we're here. We're here to chase the cloud bounce. And I'll be totally honest, throughout this video you'll watch me struggle a little bit. I definitely underestimated how difficult the cloud bounce would be because it looks so easy when you watch somebody who can actually do it, and then you get outside in the hot, sweaty heat and the sun is burning down on you and you can't do it. But no spoilers, whether or not I was able to hit the cloud bounce is still a mystery, and I will tell you there is a new unlock trick at the end, so stick around. And what else is going on? Let me know in the comments what's going on with you, and I'm about to give you the rundown on my end. I like to keep these as one-takey, chill conversation as possible. And, I'll get into some of the tips I have for the cloud bounce, but right now, just like me in the past who is ripping these tricks out, I'm just experimenting. See, you can watch if you want, but there's not much to say with my technique or what I'm learning quite yet. I'll give you some tips, but first, I want to ask and give a little background. Do you guys read movie reviews before you watch a movie? And do you look at the ratings before you watch a movie? Because I have had some mixed experiences recently, and I need to know what's standard procedure. So I'll kind of work my way backwards and tell you where this is all coming from. So maybe a week ago, maybe a little more than that, I don't know, my girlfriend and I, we were hanging out, finished eating dinner, and we're like, okay, what do you want to do? Let's watch a movie. Sure, yeah. So we hop onto Netflix, and we don't know what we want to watch, so we go to the trending. And these were the trending movies in Canada at this time. And number one on the list was, what was it called? It's called Woman in the Window. And it's it's kind of spooky vibes, and we're like, okay, maybe it's like a thriller, spooky thriller, and it's rated number one. This is very important. Keep in mind that this movie was rated number one. And yes, we did the due diligence of watching the trailer, and I'll say it looked pretty good. So we're like, okay, what the hell? We'll watch this movie. Well, cut to about 2 hours later, or however long the runtime for that movie was, and it kind of kept me captivated throughout, but the ending, sorry for the spoilers, is just pretty bad. Really, really bad. Now, it wasn't bad in the sense oh no, my favorite character died, or bad in the sense oh, everyone went to a blind people sanctuary, but bad in the sense that it tried to make a big twist and it fell flat for me. Long story short, it was just bad. And so that leads to the question, why is it number one? Because it was bad. So we start looking up the reviews and stuff, and we realize this movie creeped its way to number one on trending because it was bad. And that's the only reason it made it there. People were laughing at it and commenting on it. And of course, the views made it go up to trending, similar to some stuff that happens over here on YouTube, but I'm not talking about that. But yeah, so basically we ended up watching this movie that we thought was number one great because it was bad. So that was a time where, the ratings and stuff influenced us to watch something, and they said it was good, and it was really bad. And then I think back to some other times, other movies that come to mind. Captain Marvel was one that had some pretty poor ratings, and we went into it this movie's gonna suck. And I'm not saying it was great, but it was an enjoyable enough watch. The Last Jedi as well, as much hate as it gets. As a Star Wars fan, I kind of warned my girlfriend going in, this movie kind of sucks. And it sucks for a Star Wars fan, but it didn't suck as a movie for her coming in from from not knowing too much, it was a decent movie. So you can't be letting the reviews tell you how to feel about a movie. You gotta watch it yourself, and that's why I've been trying to dodge the reviews, dodge every opinion you see, and take it for what it is. You gotta let me know, do you watch the reviews? Because I've been getting way too caught up on them. It just drove me on this huge rant here while I'm going for cloud bounces. But yeah, let me know, what's your procedure? Reviews, no reviews, watch it on your own, decide if you like it. I think that's the best way, and that's what I'm gonna do from now on. With that rant out of the way, let's take a little bit of a look back to the Kendama stuff. You can see the cloud bounces, in some cases, they're kind of coming along, but a couple quick things off the top. The short string is almost essential, and a lot of people might be wondering, okay, let's be real, nobody's wondering, but I'm going to tell you anyway, why I always am using this same chrome pop when I do any of these like outdoor sessions. I mean, you probably didn't notice, but maybe now you noticed that I said it, but yeah, the reason I end up using this Dama all the time outside is because, I don't have too many Damas. I have like 5 Damas in my collection, and a lot of them, like the Sweets and the Lotus, they're all like sticky paint, so I feel like if they end up in the grass and the dirt, they're just gonna get filthy. And this chrome pop has the rubber paint, and I've taken it outside already. It already smells like a fresh cut lawn, so I just end up taking it with me every time. It kind of became my outdoor session machine. So that's the reason I'm always rocking this one. Also, the tricks like this, like the cloud bounce, the spacewalk, the goon, I find so much easier with a shorter string. This Dama has a shorter string, and that's why it's always coming out with me. You can see I got a little bit sidetracked. The gunslingers are something that I haven't really put much focus on, like ever, but I just recently started having a lot of fun with. So, go back and find some simple tricks that you might enjoy. I made those like 5 fun trick videos, and sometimes those, especially between chasing a trick, like, I'm going for the cloud bounce, but in between you gotta reset the brain, reset the fingers, go for something fun. The gunslinger I've been having a lot of fun with. You may notice that I'm kind of doing the opposite of chasing the sun. I keep rotating and spinning my hat around to try to keep that hot sun off my back and then off my face when the time is right. It was an absolute scorcher out this day, and need I remind you that I work from my desk all day, so when I creep out of my air-conditioned room and, undilate or dilate my pupils out in the sun, I don't know which way they go. I think they're big when it's dark. Anyways, when I'm getting out in the sun, it is hot and uncomfortable and sticky, and it's a great time though to get out of the desk, get outside. If that didn't work, I don't know how that couldn't have worked as encouragement, but if it didn't, let me tell you, get outside, get some exercise, get the blood flowing. It does a ton for the mood. You may think, I'm going to get sweaty and gross and tired and blah, blah, blah. It does a lot for your mood to be out in the sun, and I got a lot out of this. This was like a 30-minute session, and it really brightened the day. So if nothing else motivates you to get out there, let that be it. While we're on the topic of sitting around on a computer and only having 30 minutes to sesh Dama, I should bring up something that's kind of a fun project on my plate right now. If anybody's interested, you know that I'm a developer. That's like my job. I mean, I'm still in school, but working right now as a developer. And a group of friends and I are actually developing a video game. Obviously, can't be handing out the new greatest game ideas that we're coming up with. But yeah, it's super interesting because I've never been a part of a project like this that's so like open-ended. Like, if I were to tell you right now, you can make any video game you want, any party game or, like browser game, mobile game, any game you want, what would you make? It's a super hard, concept even to wrap your head around, that you can make whatever you want. And that's kind of the position we're in right now. We're trying to come up with ideas and craft a game that could be super fun for everyone to play. Something like the next Among Us or whatever other games you play, we're trying to come up with. So let me know, if you had to start from a clean slate developing a game, what would you make? Where would you go? Would you make a party game? Would you make a horror game, like next Slender Man? I don't know. I think it's an interesting topic to hear what people think of as fun games. What would they make? Because that's the boat I'm in right now, and it's something that's been really fun for me, a fun project and something cool to keep you updated on. Back to the Dama, I'm getting very sidetracked, but if you want some cloud bounce tips, listen, obviously I haven't hit it quite yet, but there are some things that I'm learning along the way. One of them is that you want to throw the ken from like, when you have it in Tama grip and you're like throwing it up as if you're doing the trade spike, you want to make it like a slower, loftier throw. So don't make it a tight little spin. Give it some height and slow the turn down so you can really see like where it's at when you're going to throw the Tama up. So for example, if the ken is spinning really fast, you're kind of guessing when to throw the Tama to have it tug on the cups at the perfect time. But if it's slowed down, you can kind of tell and feel when you should throw the Tama to try to get it to tug and yoink up on the cups at the perfect time. The only time I saw any clean ken spinning after that toss is when I slowed the flip down and threw when I knew I should throw. I could see the ken spinning, I knew when I should throw the Tama to yank the cups up, and it gave me a cleaner spin than any of like the random, just throw and praise that I did. Another tip is to get comfortable throwing the Tama pretty hard. Now you can get the ken spinning pretty good on like a more gentle Tama throw, but the problem is that if you throw it more gently, the ken won't like shoot up as high, which gives you less time, and B, it's harder to time because the time between you actually releasing the Tama and it like reaching its max string length and yanking the ken is going to be longer on a slower throw. So if you throw it hard and fast, then the time between you actually throwing it and it yanking the ken is shorter, and it makes it easier to time that relationship. Hopefully the visuals are worth more than my explanation, and you can kind of just reference my throws, see what I'm doing, try to see how the ken is spinning and what made it do that. You can see the differences in my throwing speed of the Tama and kind of gauge for yourself what would work, what wouldn't for the cloud bounce. And like I said, this is so tough. You see some people get such clean cloud bounces and it looks so easy, but the ken just does not always cooperate. So keep that in mind. Don't get discouraged. You have to really experiment, and it's still something I'm learning, how to control that ken after the throw. You can see I kind of threw in some attempts to carry the cloud bounce into a juggle because I thought that might be more easy to control than just getting it to spike instantly, which was like just a prayer at that point. So sometimes I copped out for that juggle, which didn't make it too much easier because again, the string is short, so you don't have much room to work with when you're trying to pull off those juggles. But I gave it a fair attempt. The cloud bounce is just absolutely one of those tricks that you have to learn by doing and experimenting. You can read or listen to somebody tell you how the best way to throw the Tama and like when to toss the ken and how to toss it. You can do that all day, but until you're out there and you can feel what that little tug and throw feels like in your hands, it's just not going to happen. It takes a lot of practice, and this is just me in that early stage. I don't know if you're able to tell, but I definitely do feel like I'm progressing with this and getting a bit cleaner. If you revert to the beginning of the video and then, you come back to this point, you'll see a little more form, a little more stability and control. Had to, take a quick break here. Dad's telling me what time dinner time is. So, priorities. But like I was saying, it started to feel a bit better in the hand. My muscle memory was kind of kicking in when to throw the Tama to at least give myself a fighting chance. Of course, trying to spike it is like a whole new ball game, and I'm just holding the Tama out and praying at that point. But it is feeling better, and maybe one day the cloud bounce will come to me. For now, I think my man Stiff Legs, you are out of luck with me hitting this dare, but I'm going to put a ton more time into it. But I didn't want to stop just here, I came outside for an outdoor session, didn't think I was going to nail the cloud bounce, but I did want to unlock something new for you guys and for me. So I just started messing around with different tricks. I started thinking, what's something that I've never really tried, but something I could unlock right now, and that is this stilt stall. I think this is a stilt. Let me know if this is called a stilt or if it's called something else. I don't really know the names and the difference between all of them, but obviously this isn't a super difficult trick, but it's honestly something I've never gone for before. Absolutely had to lick up the bevel on this one to make it stick, make that stall come into place. I have a couple video ideas revolving around the whole bevel licking thing, so maybe you want to stay tuned for those. I've got tons of ideas for Dama videos, but I don't know, I need to find some Damas I can get for wholesale that I can just, mess around with and destroy for the sake of experimentation. Anyways, with that and a big lick, I eventually was able to nail the stilt. I'm gonna call it the stilt. I think that's what it's called. I was able to nail it, reel it in right here, and I didn't even cop out. I went to one turn into the spike. So, you know, I did the best I could to get a new unlock for you guys, and it was toasty out there. You can see some sweat marks going. Cloud bounce? Nah, it was worth that final try. But I think I'm gonna roll up to the camera right about here after I grab some water. Ooh, this is your reminder. I've been slacking on the water reminders. Stay hydrated, guys. Grab your bottle right now, fill it up, take a swig, keeping you healthy. There's the sweat stain show off that I mentioned. Yeah, that wasn't water, unfortunately. I should have turned around to show you my back. It was absolutely drenched. I made sure to kind of mess around for a couple extra seconds, show off the flip-flops, extra style points on this session here. Wanted to make sure I had enough time to sign you off. So with that, have a wonderful day. Bonk the camera. Peace.